Alrighty, so I apologize, we are a smidge late. I run into some new fun thing that I didn't know about how Facebook works pretty much every time I try to do anything interesting with Facebook. So I'm a learning, and I appreciate your patience as we are getting started. And we are going to be, if we can turn that down, that'd be awesome. Or you know what I mean? Can you turn the volume down? Thank you. Bless you. Appreciate that. Okay, so we are going to be making these bracelets. And I'm going to show you all the different steps. Hopefully it'll all flow reasonably well. And I'm going to let Ed give us an introduction. We've got Carol joining us today. It's just going to be a fun day. So anyway, I'm going to let Ed say what Ed usually says. There you go, Mr. Guzman.
Hey, thank you, everybody. We're coming to you live from historic downtown Stoughton in an abandoned movie theater on the edge of town. And it's the Ed and Becky and Carol show. My name is Ed. Say hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
And say hi, Carol.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there. And so we've got a wonderful show for you today. If you've done this before, you know the drill. We'll at some point show you some lots for sale, and you just say, if you like what you see, you just say sold, lot number 1, or sold, lot number 2. And if there's ever a quantity needed, just note the quantity as well. Otherwise, we assume quantity 1. At the end of the show, we tally up your purchases and send you a secure click and pay invoice through Square, through email. And what that means is if we don't have your email, you just need to let us know at becky@diakonosdesigns.com. Today, shipping is free if your orders are over $50. If they are under $50, it's a flat $5.95 for shipping. And there will be discounts available for the well-behaved as well as the large purchasers. If you spend over $75, you get 15% off. If you spend over $150, you get 20% off. And the majority of the first part of the show is going to be instruction and tutorial. So just sit back and enjoy and let Becky show you how to make this the All Things New bracelet. And there'll be some fun stuff for sale later on. So hang tight and we'll turn it over to Becky.
Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it. And hello to everybody. I see Lori and Lisa and Kim and Bradley Ann, and I'm so grateful for all you being out there and for you tuning in today. And I've got Carol here. I'm so grateful and blessed for that because she's been helping me figure out how we're going to make these, just different methods for how these kind of come together. We call this All Things New. And the reason for that is, I just wanted to share this with you. Hopefully it'll come under the screen okay. You see where that says All Things New? This is our random box of leftover bits and stuff that we have when we're designing. And we never throw anything away, so we've been saving all of that stuff since the beginning of time. And it has been occurring to me that, wow, you all may have that same thing happening, because if you're making kits and projects and such, there's always leftovers. So the idea is that we're making what's, in the industry kind of traditionally called a Chandlu bracelet. There's 2 different styles. Thanks for the love. There's, maybe even more than 2. I'm aware of 2 different styles of weaving. We're going to go with the simpler of the 2, in my opinion, and the non-traditional of the 2. But what it does is it helps you be able to, excuse me, I get so easily distracted. It helps you be able to attach things like chain. The traditional Chandlu method, it works well for beads, but it doesn't work well for attaching other stuff. So anyway, we will talk a little bit about that as we go. And Carol's job here is to make sure I don't forget to say the things that I think are important that I want to say, but that in the heat of this, I tend to forget. Have I forgotten anything yet, Carol?
No, nothing yet.
Thank you. And feel free to interrupt and help and interject. Carol has been making these as well. So it's fun to have others help with pulling this off, because then we all have the ability to offer input into what works well and what doesn't and such. So we love, anyway, I could go on and on. I will stop, and I'm going to, so this ultimately will be a lot for this kit colorway that I'm going to show you, but I'm going to get started with basics, which is how to get started, right? Our kit, or this design, and I'm not going to really talk about this so much as a kit as I am just the methods, because you may well have all of these goodies at home. So more, this is about just showing you how to do this. So you take a piece of leather, and in our case, we're including 6 feet of leather in our kit. Carol, there's...
What size leather?
This is 1.5 millimeter leather, Mr. Guzman. Thanks for asking. You could surely make this with 2 millimeter leather. I'm doing one, and when you use 2 millimeter leather, just that little bit of extra bigness will mean that you need to consider that when you're thinking about how much wax linen to use. In this case, well, you know what? I'm going to share this right away. Carol is noticing something I think that I'm missing. So our kits come with 6 feet of leather, right? And what we have discovered is that you can make a big long bracelet. The idea is you can at least make a triple wrap event for any size wrist. But if you use your leather carefully, you can make a 1 wrap and a triple wrap. And you can do that by using 20 inches of leather for a single wrap. So I'm going to cut 20 inches off. And my experience has been you don't really want to ever work with less than 20 inches when you're making a single wrap. And in this case, we're gonna end up with 2 knots. You don't want to use less than 20 inches of leather because then you don't have enough left over for making the knot. And that is not good. You've probably all been there where you have a little less material than you wish you had. So I'm taking the leather that I've got, folding it in half, and strung the button on, fold the leather in half, and I'm going to, oh, no, never mind. Carol is reminding me, no, this is not how we start this. We start this plain old. So
Yeah, you can just simply tie on
yes,
the wax linen.
yes. So
It's one less knot.
exactly, and it makes it a little less bumpy at the start. If you have, and I forgot to cut my linen down to size. Sorry, I think I'm better prepared as we go along, we hope. I like to work with 5-foot chunks of wax linen. Our kit will come with 5 yards of linen or wax linen, and if you can use whatever segments you like. I think as we move along, we'll talk, in general, I estimate about 8 inches of wax linen per inch of bracelet. So, and the reason I say in general is because when you're just wrapping on, the rate of usage is lower. But when you're securing ends or you're wrapping to do a finish, you use a little bit more. So if you know you want a bracelet or a segment that is 20 inches long, then you should cut 20 times 8, which would be 160 inches. However, I like to work with less linen than that because it's obnoxious to have that much material going on, and I'll show you as we go along how to do some joins. So we're going to start with a simple knot, and we're not just an overhand knot, and we're going to, again, at the halfway point of the wax linen, I've cut for myself 5 feet. I don't think I said 5 yards, did I?
No, that
Okay.
comes in a kit, but 5 feet for your project.
Okay. So you can just wrap this around however you want. And I think one of the things I want to convey as we've played is so many things. You can do it however you really want. There's lots of ways to do things. You could wrap simply like that and then tie it at the back, or you could start with what is called a fishtail. And in this case, I've got the knot on the back right here. And yeah, here. There's an example of what the fishtail looks like. So I'll stick that there. And we're gonna go like so. In this design, one of the things that has helped me keep everything even and working and all the stitches flowing well is going always from the back of the bracelet to the front of the bracelet with all the stitches. So when it comes to the wax linen. So here I'm going to take the wax linen, come over this cord of leather, over the one that I'm on the right and then under the one on the left. I'm taking the wax linen that's on the left over the leather that's on the right, or on the left, and under the one on the right. So the fishtail is basically just weaving almost like figure 8 fashion over one side and under the other. Over on the first pass and under the next piece of leather. And I'm going to do 3 of those because I like doing things in 3s. And over and under. Easy peasy. So both cords are coming from the back, but one of the things I kind of like to do, and you don't need to or have to do this, but if you tie a knot, you can put knots in as you go, and that just gives a little bit of security for holding stitches in place. I'm kind of I like the look of wax linen, so I don't mind if there's extra in my pieces. So I'm going to try pinning this down because I think that's going to make it easier to show how we're going to go about adding beads on. So, and Eddie, you do some designs that include, what do we call it? This is basically, well, not really a ladder weave. It's sort of, but not really. But if you have any insights or things to add, I know you will. I probably don't need to invite you to do it. So I've secured this, which is kind of handy. You don't need to, if it's just easier to do this when I'm trying to do it on screen. I wonder if I should go over to the middle a little bit there. There we go. So I like to have the wax linen start from the back and come around to the front. So I'm going to put my first bead on, coming from right to left, and I need to have the wax linen go through all the beads that it's going to go through twice. So smaller hole bead, and I wanted to demonstrate that. If your bead hole feels like you can't get the 2 strands of wax linen through, put one through, push it up so you're putting as much room as possible, and then you saw how I kind of pulled the end of the waxed cord to make it, kind of compress it. The warmth of your hands can help compress that. And then we're going to pull both ways, pop that bead right into the track. And when I say track, I mean the 2 pieces of leather, and then and that's the end of that stitch. My starting position is for the wax linen to be behind the leather. So that's what I'm going to do. The wax linen is going to go behind the leather. And you can see this is hanging a little bit low, so I'm going to push the bead up, pull the cords, because that's, if you keep it even and snug as you go, that's going to be your best plan. This design, wax linen, one of the things I like about it, so here one of the things I like about wax linen is that it does stick to the surface of the leather when you're using natural leather. So, but the downside is that then you do need to pull those stitches as you go, because you can't snug them up toward the end, or you can't snug them up as easily afterward. So bead goes on my piece of wax linen that's on the right, and going from right to left. Here and sometimes, did you see how I used like the cord that was already through? You can almost use that to help get to get the bead through.
That's absolutely my favorite tip, because the wax sticks to itself, and then you just back up your first thread and pulls that second thread through the hole.
It is a handy little, remembering to do it, because one of the things that can happen with wax linen is the ends can get frayed, and that's not good. But when you complete, you know, when you keep pulling them together and they do what wax linen is supposed to do, well, that's just a sweet little blessing, right? We're always grateful when you can use the material's inherent qualities to make life just a little bit easier. So again, I'm going through right to left and left to right with the one that's on the left, pulling it through. Is this making sense? My plan is to next show how we work a chunk of box Rolo chain in, and to do that on this bracelet. But I wanted to get 5 beads in first. So bear with me as we get 5 beads in. And Leah asked, oh yeah, do you cut the wax linen at an angle?
And I said it's not usually necessary because it's already thin.
Yep. And I think that sometimes, I mean, you can try it. If you have a really sharp, you know, sharp cutters, that might work well. But I'm wondering if cutting, I tend to cut it just blunt cut, and if cutting it at an angle almost separates those fibers.
It might.
And then makes them more vulnerable. So, you know, this is a great question, and I think the answer is experiment and see what works best in your world. You might have noticed on that last one, I strung from left to right first, and once you get going, you can see it really doesn't matter. You can, what the objective is, you just need to get the cord that's on the left going through the bead one way, the cord that's on the right needs to go through the bead the other way, and they both need to settle into the spot that you have prepared for them. And every stitch, I'm going to go around to the back and tuck it in. So you can start to see what that colorway is going to look like. And each of these kits is going to come with 2 different colors of crystal cup chain, 2 different colors of box Rolo, because there's 2 different ways to weave that in, 1 color of binary chain, a little bit of decorative chain like so, and then an extra button, so if you decide to do 2 bracelets, you can do that. And that's thanks to, I forget who made that suggestion on our Facebook page. So anyway, we are going to start with antique copper. And Carol, did you have a comment you wanted to share with us?
No, I'm just looking.
Okay, cool. So an average 6.5 inch wrist, you would make about 7 inches or 6 3/4 inches of design. And I, on most of my designs, use a whole bunch of beads first, and then I use some chain. Our kits will have 8 inches of chain of one of the colors, and then on the they will also have all these other options, so you'll get to work, you'll get to play around with working different things in. For this, I think what I do want to, I'm going to just do a 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I want to cut this piece of box Rolo chain in half approximately, and I want to show you what I like to use. So we have a memory wire cutter that I really like for cutting box Rolo chain. Box Rolo chain has 2 segments in each Rolo, in each box Rolo link. There's 2 segments, and if you use your memory wire cutters and get right into the seam, you can open it up without doing much damage to the link. So you can close it back up again if you like. Another way you can remove links if you don't have a memory wire cutter is I like to use one, so we'll open this next one. I like to use one pointy nose or bent nose. I prefer my bent nose pliers for practically everything. And then a round nose, and then you can just use, and I'm doing this back-handed, but you can bend up the end of the box Rolo link in order to open it up and release a link. So the way that I like to start the box Rolo is going, there's two different methods for weaving with box Rolo that I like. And so the first one we're going to use is called the crisscross. And so what I mean by crisscross is exactly what we've been doing so far, crisscrossing. So going from right to left, over the right side, under the left side, and back around. And we're going to basically do that same action with this stitch of getting the box Rolo attached. So, but the very first step before we start the weaving portion is to attach it. So again, that top link, I'm going to go through with the wax linen on the right, go right to left, from the wax linen on the left, go left to right, and pull that in and go back around. Always, my starting position is always from the back side. Pull this up really nice and snug, right? And in some cases, I like to start and double up my stitch, where I would put another one in there just because this is the starting stitch. And I may do that as we go along, but I'm going to skip it here. So again, right to left, over the top of this leather, under this leather, and then left to right in the same opening. And I'm going through the opening that isn't looking at me, I guess. You could look at this one as like the eye, and this piece of wax linen needs to go behind. So, and see how this is loosened up just a little bit, or there's more space there than I would like. So I'm gonna scoot that up and tighten it before I get much further along, because if I go much further, it'll be harder to tighten that because the wax linen is so good at hanging on to itself and hanging on to the leather. So right to left, over, under. Again, I call this the crisscross approach. I'm taking the wax linen that was on the left, it's going to come over and go through here.
I mentioned to them that sometimes we do 2 loops here, or you can also push this chain up toward that bead, you know, as you're putting it on, so that there isn't a little gapiosis there in your design.
Exactly. We don't like gapiosis. I like that term, gapiosis. None of that. And if there is gapiosis after the fact and you notice it and you don't like it, yeah, Ed finally realized we've made up our own new fun term. One of my things is just add add a little bit of the decorative chain, throw in some little charm thing. You know, if you need to cover something up, you can do it, but you can avoid it in the first place if you work to do that by keeping things snug. So again, from the right through the middle of that link, I'm going to do one more of these stitches, and then we're going to switch to the other stitch. Again, this is crisscross because you're going from one side to the other and crossing. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I need 5. I'm sorry, I wish I was faster. I'll be better. So, in order to be, well, this is going to be good. You can see that there's really no rhyme or reason. As I've done most of the samples that I've done for this, I've done more stitching of each element, but you can put as many together as often as you want, meaning you could put a whole strand of beads and or a whole ring of chain. Oh, speaking of that.
Because we could, if you were doing a 3 wrap, you might make one wrap be chain and the other one be beads.
Exactly. And with the kits, a whole strand will come with the kit, so you can make you could make your whole bracelet just beads if you wanted to. You wouldn't even have to add in all this other stuff. So the next method that I want to show you is called lashing on, and lashing on is always going to be taking the whatever's in the middle and lashing it onto the leather that's on the side. And so in this case, we're gonna go always from the back over the top of the leather and down into the middle. Thanks, Carol. Keeping me on track. And so you see how I've just kind of come and I'm lashing this on. I'm not crossing over. I'm just attaching one side of the chain to the side of the leather that it's nearest. So I did the right side. Now I'm going to do the left side. So I'm lashing the left side of this little box Rollo link onto the leather and pulling it snug, making sure it's fairly even. And then I'm going to do it again. And I'll do a few of these just so you can sort of start to see the pattern. I mean, part of what's kind of fun with these, I think, is starting to see the patterns and just noticing little things. And there's a symmetry and a loveliness to it when it's completed, but there's also just a joy to it when you're doing it. I don't know, have any of you guys done Zentangle? I'm not a big Zentangler, but I know people, and
Lynn is here.
who
She's
are.
done it.
Yes.
Lynn's done it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've got a lot of Lynn. Lynn, the other bead store, Lynn. She is a Zentangler as well as Lynn, who's online with us, and there's something about that, just the sweetness of the simplicity of patterns and repetitiveness that is that's just kind of dear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think, I'm finding that I'm enjoying that in the beading that I do. When I find patterns that I like, and on the vinery, you'll see that there's just a pattern that emerges that I like. But anyway, I've got 5 of these, and of course that's as many as I need. But I want to show you this cool thing. So I'm going to stretch this out. As much as I talked about like not wanting to see that gap, right? I just pulled it, and there's a fair bit of room for snugging and extending. And so this here, the chain, it's pulled to I'm stretching it so that the chain is extended to its full length, right? But I could, if I wanted to, and you have to think about this will take up less space, but I can scrunch all that. And now I've got a whole different look. And there's 2 different stitches there. And in there, when they're done up like this, I guess you don't necessarily see the difference in the stitch. You just know that it was different in the making of it. There's a little bit of difference.
Hold
But-
it up just a little higher in there. Just
Oh,
because
there we
the
go.
texting
Yes.
hides it.
So this is where you can snug it all up, and now that chain all of a sudden almost doesn't even look, well, it looks like chain, but it looks different. It looks more beady than chainy, I think. So just another thing that you can do with the elements, and keeping in mind that then this amount, let's see, this is 10 stitches, trying to do some measurements. That takes up about 1 inch if it's crunched, and then if you stretch it, I bet that's going to go almost 1.25 inches, so not as much as I thought. But anyway, a whole different look, I think. So that is how we do the box Rollo. And now I want to show you how to get crystal cup chain on these. And I'm going to use a different bracelet because these are all kind of in process, right? So this guy here is okay. These elements, I've got 5 yards of this all pre-cut. I was smart on that one. So this kit has these bits and parts are going to ultimately be part of it. And on this bracelet, I have just finished the box Rollo segment. So I want to show you how to actually finish it. So on this one, there's beads for 1 full revolution, chain for another revolution. Notice that because there's a contrast between the wax linen and the leather, it just has, in my mind, a whole different look. than when you have your leather and wax linen kind of more cohesive. And any of these elements, I mean, we're just showing you some examples. We have kits with an arrangement of, an assortment of different elements we picked out. But all these things are available on our website or, elsewhere for you to make fun stuff. So, so you can pick your own color combinations. So you can see I was finishing here with the lash on approach. And so I'm gonna kind of continue in that vein. And one of the things I do like to do when I'm finishing a segment is wrap it twice for extra security. So I'm gonna go through that link one more time, and then I'm gonna go through this link one more time. Ting Ting asked if we are selling kits today, and we will be at the end. We will have some kits with these designs, and we'll have some of the beads, because more beads, right? So I just went through twice, and I'm gonna go wrap around, left over right, right over left, either, just to give a little bit of substance here. Oh, wait a second. No, never mind. I'm not finishing the whole thing. I am just moving on to crystal cup chain, right? Help me, Carol. What am I doing? Crystal cup chain is what I'm doing next.
You're doing crystal cup chain, Becky.
Thank you. So, crystal cup chain, well, and part of it is I wanted to show you, how you end, and actually, oh, yes, I do need to end. Duh. Because, oh my goodness, because there's not enough wax linen left. So yes, I want to show you how to tie that off. Yes,
piece of wax.
Yes, so we are going to go around like so, but I was tying it super tight. When you're going to be joining, I don't tie it quite so tight. Instead, I make it consistent with the width that I'm wanting the whole piece to be. So instead of pulling this super tight like that, I'm going to leave it open, and when I do my knot, so that my crystal cup chain will fit right in there, or my bead, or whichever element I was going to put in there next. And I just like that because then it makes the whole, the silhouette of the bracelet similar, and it doesn't get narrow at a certain spot. So I like to use a surgeon's knot. I've already done half of that surgeon's knot. If I go like so, that's a square knot. I'm going to go through one more time. That's a surgeon's knot. And I'm going to pull it nice and snug while keeping it not too tight in terms of how much it's compressing the leather. Make sense?
And so that's the string you were ending with.
Yes, this is the one I'm ending with. Yep. And so this is the back. Oh, and I just dropped this cup chain on the carpet. And speaking of cup chain on the carpet, so you guys all know cup chain is cup chainish and has cups, and that means it has little pricks and pokes that hold the crystals. So just a tip, if you be careful, test that it is, once in a while one of those little pokes will stick up a little high. If you notice that, I just use like the back end of a pliers on a hard surface, press it down. But be careful with your very bestest sweaters and whatnot if you're using cup chain, because some of it is has a little bit of pokiness. So I'm gonna do my wax linen halfway, and I've got a 5-foot segment. I'm tying a knot because I like to secure the cup chain in a little knot, and then I start using the lashing on method. So I'm going to push this up because I want to get as much of that material out of the way, and I'm going to bring my little knotted bit of wax linen and then open up that space in the middle of the knot, tuck in my cup chain. And this, as we have discussed about many little projects, can be putsy, but we're all girls or boys, and we can do putsy things, right? Right, Carol? We can do putsy things. And what this lets us do is the knot kind of holds, you're putting it right at the, there, got her done.
May I move your phone just a little bit, and only so that the fingers are in the middle to see this part, because I don't want to make it uncomfortable for you.
So where, you tell me what you think is good to do.
I just can move this a little bit, but maybe it doesn't adjust that much. So
What were you trying to do?
so that when we see it on the screen, the words that are comments, they cover up part of the lower half of the screen.
And is it happening on the computer as well?
Yes.
It's not happening on here.
Yeah,
Not happening on that one? Okay.
Depends on how
yeah, I think on the phone that's a thing, but I don't think that,
On a computer.
I don't think so.
And look, on my computer, it's on the side. The comments are on the side, so it's not a problem at all. It's perfect
Oh, okay.
on mine.
All right, so it isn't a problem
I
on
was
the
just
computer.
responding to what I saw on your phone.
Yeah, no, this is a pain for me, but it is not a pain for others. I
Okay,
don't
that's
think.
awesome.
It is, yes. And what Carol was pointing out is that on the screen that I have available to me, which is my phone, I can't, it's hard to see what's going on because all the comments cover it, but that's a function of the phone. But I don't think you guys have that problem. If anybody is having a problem seeing things and can tell me that, that would be great. Otherwise, we will assume you're seeing things okay. So, I've got a knot that is securing the top of the crystal cup chain and holds it there so I don't have to worry about it falling away. And then I need to start, everything is going to start from behind, as we've said. So, and I like to make sure that that piece is in there right where I want it. So it's where I want it to be as far as on the leather, and I'm just trying to push it up so it's next, you know, right where I want it, next to the finish of the segment before. And when I'm starting crystal cup chain, one of the things I've discovered is that it works better if you put 2 or 3 wraps at the first and at the end, and then that helps hold the crystal cup in between the leather rather than popping up. So, but we are going to lash on. Once we've gotten it started with that simple knot, the next step is to go do the lashing on from right to left on the right hand side, left to right, and I'm still working right up close in that space that I just knotted on. So in that space between the 2 crystal segments, I've now got 2 pieces of wax linen coming through. Then I'm going to do it again and do 3.
All right, great.
And again, lashing is the best approach that I have found. If anybody knows other ways to attach cup chain, I've played with different things, and this has worked out, as far as I can tell, to be about the best. In terms of it puts the cup chain in the center of the leather, so it's not sticking up too much. So I'm going to continue. Once it's attached, then we can go right to left using the lash-on method and moving into, sorry, I'm trying to keep centered, moving into this space. And thank you, Carol, for trying to help everybody be sure we could see things okay. Now I'm going to do left to right. And so I'm basically going over that center section, that little opening, and so then this covers up that empty space, going from right to left, over and around, front to back, and then doing it again in that same space. And there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 5 of these, and so I'm going to come in and snip. This chain is easy to snip with just a standard cutters. You don't need anything too fancy because that little segment in the middle is pretty thin and easy to cut. So right to left. And you know what? I could have kept that tail of chain, which actually makes it a little easier to work. So these pieces of segment, if you're going to work with them, or the chain segments that you've got, it's almost easier to have them long because then you have them available to just hang on to and whatnot. So right to left, one more time here, lashing. What time are we at, Miss Carol? I realize.
12:42.
Oh my goodness, girls and boys. I am, you know, I did run through this and it felt faster before. We are getting close though, because I just want to be sure you get a look at how to do kind of everything. So I did do some videos the other night and put them on. They're on the page with each of these segments. So if you run into trouble with just one segment, you can take a look there. That'd be easy. So I like to do one more wrap straight across, but again, I have played with this in so many different ways, and so can you. And so, you know, do whatever works best and feels prettiest for what you're trying to do. So I'm working on the back, tying a knot, and I think that's going to be sufficient, and I'll move on to whatever the next segment will be. All right, so in this case, we're going to put a little chunk, so we're going from back to front. We're going to put a little chunk of dimensional chain in here. I like this chain, and I like to use 3 segments of it. It's just a little bit of fun, and you know, sometimes that's what it's about, a little bit of unexpected fun. I will say, fun story, when I was putting this together, my beloved child, who was helping film, couldn't stop laughing at this little bit of fluff. And the one he was laughing at, I think, was probably this one, because he thought it looked like a goatee. And I'm like, no, this is meant to be a cute, fun bit of unexpected fluff. It's not a goatee. But it just goes to show you, it's not for everyone. So if you look at this chain, there's segments that are thicker, that are banded, and then there's segments that are not banded. They're just they're the chain itself with these decorative banded elements. I like to go through each of them on the end, and go through one way, and then go through the other way. Carol has done this. Do you have yours, Carol? You did yours with going through just the middle one, which means it's just going to extend a little bit more, which is all good and fine. So Carol has put together a version of this that is in recognition of Ukraine. Yes, some of her color choices. Yep. And so her little dangle is going to hang, her little goatee is going to dangle a little longer than one that was secured in 2 spots. So
I just secured it in the middle one to try that out.
Yeah.
Because it's all about experimenting.
Exactly. We're just trying to play and have fun. So because this is dimensional chain and it's all kind of loosey-goosey and can get in the way, I like to work from the back and let gravity be your helper. So I'm going to get all those little dangles hanging away, because trying to do that from the front is really difficult. So I am working from the back right now, so that means I'm going to snug this up. I basically did a crisscross, and so now I'm going to flip it over so that I can continue my process of right to left from the back over the front. Make sense? So I'm going to do 1 crisscross below that. And if you wanted to further secure that, you certainly could. I'm going to crisscross that way. And push that little element up. And you know what I might even do is, back to front, come over the front fully, go over with each piece going in the opposite direction, and then tie a knot on the back just to secure that little element, and it kind of makes him look seated properly. And that would be how you can attach a little bit of this. There's no reason you can't attach more of this. Oh, wonderful. So I can't read all of the comments because I'm trying to do this. Because I'm trying to talk and think and do something at the same time, and I can only do one thing at a time. Hardly good. Far less 2 or 3 things, sort of good. So, but I do see somebody asked about, or commented, Leah did, that she just learned how to share. So, and shared this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't even know if I know how to share. Do you know? Well, I know how to share generally, but do you know how to share a video, Carol?
I have to follow my nose, so I can't tell you.
Well, so thank you, Leah, for doing that. We appreciate it very much. All right, so that is how to attach a little bit of fluff if you don't think it looks like a little scraggly beard. All right, so dimensional. So we are going to do vinery chain with the double wrap per segment. So the next chunk on this particular one is going to be our vinery chain, which is a really fun chain. And I'm going to give you a tip. So if you look at these links, much like box roller links, there's 2 segments, right? And oftentimes one of them is a little bigger than the other. This was, you see how the top opening on this guy is a little smaller than the bottom opening? This came to my attention because Carol, when she was putting hers together, had a little bit of trouble with going through this twice, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I noticed is that one of the links is typically a little bigger than the other. So what we're going to do, because we're going to be doing a lash on approach, we're going to start with a small link, and that's how I'm going to attach the chain. And then when we're lashing on, we're going to be lashing on through the larger link that has a larger opening.
Right.
And that's going to make it easier because ultimately we're going to put 4 pieces of wax linen through that opening right there. But this one, we're going to put 2 pieces through, one from the right, one from the left. We're crisscrossing this onto the bracelet, and we do it like so. And then wax linen always comes from the back to the front. So I'm going to pull that up nice and snug right into the spot where that little bit of fluff is. And our next thing is going to be to hang on to this, and we're going to end up going through each side twice. In fact, you know what, Carol, can you, while I'm doing this, can you find one of the samples that shows that so they can see the pattern? Because I'm thinking I'm not going to do as much of this as I would have done. But yeah, there, you can see how that ends up kind of patterning when you go through twice on each of them. And I'm gonna, maybe I'll leave that right there.
Here's the
But
blue.
I'm gonna keep on doing it.
Blue has more contrast.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing right here. So
Okay. All right, go see it.
yeah, so, and with that, you can lash on twice on each, on one side, and again, back to front always. So I'm coming from the back. I'm gonna lash this side of the box, or not the box roller, this is vinery chain. This side of the vinery chain is gonna be attached, and we're gonna do it again with,
I like the necklace. I will learn to wear them.
and this is fun. I'm doing this all left-handed, which isn't my strongest suit, but it's part of how you get to do it when you're trying to do it on video, right? So you can sort of see the beginning of how that pattern has started, and I'm going to do another one just so you can see it. And so right to left, going from back to front, doing this again, and then we'll do one more.
My daughter's birthday
I like how this different chain gives you a different texture, obviously, but it gives you a different texture in your bracelet, and it begins to look like some kind of braid or something to me.
It does. I know, and then it is just weird how, like, as you play with it, you're just wrapping different things in. You start to just find what is pleasing to you for whatever reason, and sometimes texture with a little bit of irregularity is fun. Sometimes, you know, texture or rhythm with complete symmetry is fun. Anyway, I kind of like that this one does have a little bit of irregularity, and so that is as far as we're going to take this one, because I want to get to the end so we can get to the stuff that we've got. So this is, and again, each of these methods is in individual videos on our Facebook page. So don't worry, Eddie, we're okay. I just need to show people how to finish. This is going to go over here. I'm trying to keep all my stuff and junk organized. So
Just remember, as she does this, if you're watching from Australia, you have to do it the exactly opposite.
You're funny.
Kidding.
All right, so this is basically a double wrap bracelet. So I've got several chains, I've got a little bit of crystal. Oh, I didn't leave this because I wanted to show you. I like to just, you know, there's already a surgeon's knot there. And, you know, press it in, again, using the waxiness to kind of do what wax can do, and then trim. And, I mean, I pulled it really tight, and you could put glue on there. I don't tend to. And I leave a little bit of a tail, about like so, and it all kind of presses in. But I did want to show you somewhere along the line here how to, you know, once you've tied a segment off, how to camouflage it and finish it and cut it off. All right, so here, this is the last little bit of binary chain in silver, and I went through that last one 3 times because I knew I was going to do a fishtail, and I just thought it would all be kind of cute and consistent. So fishtail again, over, we're always going over the piece that's on the side that you're bringing your wax linen from, and under the other one. So over, under, in crisscross fashion. And now I do want to start to get, I want to start to pull this together, because this is going to be where I'm going to finish up my bracelet. And so with the kits, there's 6 feet of leather. If you use half of it, you would be able to make two double wrap bracelets that are average size. If you have an especially generous wrist, you probably want to make sure, and we'll include some information that tells you about how to figure some, you know, do some of the math. So there we go. I'm going to do one more wrap each way, and then turn it over. And all right, I'm going to tie this knot, and thanks everybody for your patience. Sorry. Yes, I'm going to Australia with the gang. I think that sounds fun. I know people in Australia, not very many, but a few. It would be a blast. All right, from here, I like to try to camouflage where I did that knot. I'm going to pull both of these ends through this way. So an overhand knot with both pieces of leather, and snugged right up close, so it's virtually covering the end of that wax linen, so everything is all stacked in nice, right? Right. And then you would pull that super tight and do one more knot, and that becomes your opening for your button. So easy peasy. We will move on. I do want to show, well, maybe we'll show that at the very end. All right, So we are going to show you, we've got 4 kit colorways. They're all the ones that I shared already today. So lot 1 is all these goodies. Righto, you get brown leather, you get blue wax linen, you get a strand of Yummy Good beads, and we'll have these beads individually down in just a little bit. And I don't have a ton of stuff. I just got 4 kits and some beads, and that's that. Mostly this show was about teaching some methods and techniques that are fun. So lot 1 is $40. It is all the stuff that you need to make either 1 really long bracelet or 2 bracelets. And you've got all the materials. You can patch in whichever of these you enjoy using most, and or you can use the pieces in any other way that you would like to use them. You know, like this dimensional chain is really kind of fun. It is, if you don't like it, because you don't, you could cut it in half, and those make cute little dangles that you could use as an earring. I also use this chain sometimes as a little bit of an extender chain on a fancier bracelet, because you can hook into any one of those links. You know, for those of you who do soutashing, I mean, you probably will have a little bit of extra after you're done making this bracelet from this kit. But you would have, well, now you know lots of things that you can do with them. I think we've discussed before that the box roller links make wonderful little bails for small things. Lots of fun ways. Even these, the vinery links, you can cut one and free it up, and it's just a wonderful little element to use individually. So I'm gonna take just a minute and take a drink of water and be right back with lot 2.
Thanks, Kim. I see Kim from Friendship, Wisconsin got one. We can tell Kim will ship it with your internet order.
And if you like this idea, but you don't care for these colorways, again, we're gonna have some beads, and all of the elements are on our website. On the Facebook short little videos that I did the other night, I put the link on to our website if that is helpful, or in the website's pretty straightforward. So you can go there and take a look around and order your own, you know, all these in whatever colors you like. Now you know how to do it. I do want to show a quick thing while I'm...
Can ask if it comes in all silver.
No, but it can. If she wants it in all silver, make note and we will do that. We're happy, because we're going to make all these kits up fresh. These are all handcrafted small batch kits made with love and attention to the details that matter to you. So you just tell us what you need and we will do that.
Yeah. And yes, it comes out to 40.
Yeah, if we swap everything for all silver, it'll still be the same price. Anyway, I did want to share what Carol has done here on the end of her bracelet. So she had a lot of leftover wax linen, and so she decided to do half hitches around on the leather in order to kind of just reinforce and add a decorative element to the end of the bracelet. And then she added beads on the end of the waxed linen, because the bead holes are too small to fit over leather, but they certainly do fit over wax linen. So anyway, I wanted to show you that because that's kind of fun. Alrighty, so I'm going to, there, do you mind? Can you be lot 1 girl? There you go. Thank you. It is always fun to try to figure out the easiest, best way to move around in this very small space that we have. So lot 2 is, oh, you know what I should have done? I should have brought the bracelet up. That was what I was gonna do, so you could see. Oh my goodness, which pieces look which way. So we'll do that on this one. So, oops. All of these bits and parts come with lot 2. And the way that bracelet looks is like this. How handy is that to make it easier for you to know what you're getting. So primarily silver elements in this. It's the same bead as the last one because I love that bead. And so we're doing a lot of good stuff with him today. And there you go. So this lot 2 comes with silver buttons, these amazing beads, a little bit of blue and burgundy chain, cup chain. That was what was in the last one as well. A little bit of silver fluff beads and silver backs or silver vinery, and then silver and copper box Rollo. And if people, I'm all about mixing metals, and so that's why we threw in a little bit of extra metal in a contrasting color in all of these kits. But if you would prefer us not to do that and to put all of the chain one color, as I think Ting Ting asked, just let us know. We're happy to do it because, as we said, these are small batch handcrafted kits that will come together after the show. And and then that does mean these are likely not going to get out today and may not get out tomorrow. We have a kind of almost family wedding that we're going to, or a reception, I guess. And so if we don't get them out tomorrow, we will get them out early next week. And the good news is it isn't going to go, it's not going to go bad. These are all good, durable products that will hold on. So, all right, so lot 2 is gonna move on. Thank you, Carol. Oh, you are the best. I love having a bead friend. There you go. This is how we work all day long too, is just whatever, trying to help each other out when we can. We just don't usually do it in our live shows. So, all right, so this one is, of course, a colorway that I designed because it's monochromatic, and it is green on green on green on green with just a little bit of other color. And so I kind of think of brass as basically a greenish looking metal. These beads are just beautifully mossy. We've got green leather and green wax linen. We've got a little bit of burgundy crystal cup chain, and we got a little bit of, this color is called, it's a good color name. It's on the recipe. Where's the recipe, Miss Cheryl? This is for lot 3. What's that? Green.
Olivine?
Olivine. Yes, isn't that a good word? I don't know. I just like words sometimes, like olivine. Anyway, here's how that looks all done up. And I did want to show, I think this is the one where, oh yeah. So that vinery chain, I showed you this wrap. See, this is wrapped just a little bit differently. And hold it over here so you can see the other elements. Instead of going twice through the opening, I went once through every opening. And so that's a little bit different look. And I wanted to just point that out. I kind of preferred the twice, which is right here. And so that's why that's what I showed you. But this is another way to play with these different chains and elements, and do it however you like. So I'm going to put this up here for just a minute while we let lot number 3 be.
Hey, did you share with people your 8 videos?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They are on our Facebook page as we speak. And so they're in there by segment with a little label that tells what it is, so that if you need to just double check how do I do the crystal cup chain, you can do that fast and easy. If you need to check how to do box Rollo chain, you can check. Alrighty.
And those videos are free, right?
Yes, they are free because Facebook is free. So as long as Facebook is free, those videos are free. And even if, well, whatever, they are free and will always be free. Anyway, so this is lot 3. We are going to move on. Aw, Carol, you are so good. We're going to do lot 4. Oh, and thanks everybody for your patience as we are going all along. I sure appreciate that. This is the one that I started with. And it also does a nice job with monochromaticity, with kind of a nice red-brown leather, a brown wax linen, beautiful yellow-blue beads. I picked these crystals because I thought they really augmented the beads, and then, you know, kind of a red-brown in the metals, a lot of copper. So these are the elements that are part of lot 4, and that sample is, I think it's this one. We don't have much. This is the one that I started with because I wanted to save one to start with because I wanted to show starting, of course. But this is kind of how that starts to work up. That was the very first one that where I showed you how to attach the button and get everything going. I guess we need to even attach the button. I guess we just started putting beads on. So this is lot 4. A lot of nice copper and a lot of nice warm brown. You can see we did all Becky favorite colorways today. I didn't have much time to do anything in pinks or reds or blacks or other colors, so thanks for your patience. But for those of you who enjoy working in those different colorways, there's all kinds of good options out there in beads, leather, wax, linen, chain that you can put together in whatever good fun way you like. So I'm going to,
Should we take this off now?
well, keep it there for just one more second. I'm going to grab this stuff. Oh, thank you, Miss Carol. You are so good. I'm going to get myself situated so that I can bring these beads on. And so I just have...
Ting Ting's got a question. What are the odds? Are the beads the same in every kit?
No, the beads aren't. So good question. The beads in lot 1 and 2 are the same. And then lot 3 is a matte version of what the beads that were in lot 1 and 2. And then this is lot 4. These are a little different. These are more yellows, greens, browns, and the other had a red in it. So kind of a red and a darker blue. So I will, as we're looking at, yeah, I'm trying to think of what's an easy way to kind of show you that. Like, that's lot 1 and 2. Those are the beads. And they will be available in just a moment. This is lot 3, the beads in lot 3, matte. And you have many more beads than you will need, so you'll have some left over. And then this is lot 4, which is a little more blue-yellow. Alrighty. So, all right, now we can take that one away, Miss Carol, and I'm gonna bring on the beads, beads, beads. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, this is good. So, lot 5 is the beads that we used for lots 1 and 2. And so this is how they look worked up. Oh, look at that. They blend right in. So let me give a close-up look. Oh, good question. What size were the size of the autumn beads we released a few weeks ago? Those might have been size 2-3s. They were bigger. These are size 6s. And you could certainly do all of what we're talking about with bigger beads, bigger holes. You just have to have holes big enough for whatever whatever material you're putting through. You just have to have beads that have holes big enough for all of that. So anyway, this is
Wants to know what the length is. What is it now?
The
the
strand?
Length of the strand.
20 inches. So lot 5 is a 20-inch strand of size 6 check beads, and there are a lot of really good, oh my, one of my lights is not even facing. Does that help? A lot of good variety. Try to get some of these up close. So
So will these work with the kits? I'm assuming the answer is yes.
yes, these are the beads that are in the kits. This is if you want more of those or want to use them for something else or you don't want a kit. But yes, any of these would work in the kits. So they're $10, and there's just a gorgeous red in these, and then that golden turquoise and a blue, couple different stripes, a lot of good mottled colors. So this is lot 5, and we have a good number of these because we love them and we use them in some of our other kits. So all right, so now we'll move on to lot 6. And so this was the bead that we used in lot 1 and lot 2. And now lot 6, thanks Carol, is basically the matte version of that. So that is this.
Was that the green one?
It is the green one because matte works so well. And yes, so that is how that looks worked up with all the green.
Will the autumn beads work with the kids?
So that's a good question. I'm not fully remembering what size the autumn beads were. What you could do, Eddie, is look at whatever. Did you buy some of them, Ting Ting? Because we could look on your invoice and confirm what you got and see if they're size 2-3. They will work, but they're going to be a little fatter than these. So then you'll have a wider. You know what? You could even. Do you know what she's probably talking about? Look, 2-3. You'll know the autumny. You know, there's yellows, reds. They're really pretty beads. Anyway, Carol's going to go grab them, and we'll see if those are the ones that we did. I'm sorry, I don't remember better what we did yesterday, far less a week or two ago. Oh yes, they were $22, she said, so they would have been size 2-3s. So Carol will bring them up, and then we can just kind of look at it and can see how it would play with this. But back to lot 6 for the moment. These are a beautiful matte version of the beads that of lot 5.
Was it
Yep,
these?
yep.
Do you want just the shiny or?
Yep, hang on, I'll just set them right there. And then the blue is an interesting, he kind of has a little, it's like matte, but there's a little bit of a shine to him. So I just think that's kind of cool on these beads. So, alrighty, that is lot 6. And get them out of the way. And then these are the beads I think that Ting Ting's talking about that are size 2s. And what I want to show you is like the end of something. Thanks, Carol. So you could certainly work any of these beads into this space, right? Which is really what you're doing. Instead of going through vertically, you know, you're just needing to work these beads through horizontally. And you know, when I look at it, they're not that much fatter than, I mean, they are wider than the size 6 bead, but I don't think they would look bad at all. Now, you know what I mean? When you lay it in there, and if you already have the beads, I'd say, you know, play with it, but look at, I mean, and they'll go faster because bigger holes, you know, take less time and you get more done quicker. And the holes are certainly plenty big enough for the wax linen to get through. So I think those could work. I would, you know, give it a try and see what happens. Yes, yes. All right, thank you, dear. So we were on lot 7. And that would be right here. These are shiny beads, and the last ones were matte. Matte ones, I don't think I mentioned it, but they are $12 a strand. They charge extra for all the different, you know, things that get done to make a bead pretty sometimes. If it gets a hole, it costs extra. If it gets matte, it costs extra. If it gets a, you know, sparkly, fancy, you know, AB-ish finish or something, then it gets a little extra. But this is a traditional size 6 check, and a nice bit of yellow and blue. In fact, that was probably what inspired Carol, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit. in the bracelet that she put together that has, I get the beads in there, that yellow, there we go, yellow and blue. And you can see where, right, once you partner with yellow and blue, it brings all of that out all the more. But there's also, you know, browns. This strand has some amazing striped beads. I love the different kinds of stripes that you can get in a check bead. And I should do a shout out to Allison. I do that once in a while for having hooked me into these check beads at the beginning of time. Anyway, years ago, my friend Allison was in the store and had one of these beads, and these remind me of those beads that she had that day, that I just fell in love with check beads, and I have never been the same since. So thanks, Allison, if you're on, and even if you're not. Anyway, lot 7 is this lovely arrangement. And lot 8 goes way out of my zone, but right into others. So yellow, pink, beautiful pink, and a light blue, and turquoise. So that's an interesting thing I noticed when I looked close, is that there's a solid blue that's almost sky blue, eggshell blue.
Bless you.
Excuse me. I tried really hard to hold that sneeze, but it wasn't going to happen. Anyway, and then there's one that just, it's more turquoisey because it's almost like it's that blue, but it's not quite that blue, with a little bit of a green Picasso on it. So it gives it more of a turquoise feel. So, and then there's black beads, and as y'all know, you know, these all work beautifully well, mixed up just as they are in the arrangement that you see. But you can always split them up if you don't care for the way that the black looks in there, or you don't like the way pink looks in there. You know, you can cherry pick the beads that you do like and have in a beautiful, beautiful assortment. So lot 8, these are $10 also, size 6. You can get most, in all of these strands, you can get 2 pieces of wax linen through most of them. Every so often there's a bead hole that is just tiny small. So, you know, set them aside and use them on a head pin for something other than trying to weave. But the majority of these beads you can get 2 strands of wax linen through. So, all right, that's lot 8. Lot 9 will be our last lot, and this is a fun one. We haven't had these in a while. Well, we haven't ever had this because these are new, but they are cool. And I don't know if you can tell how cool they are, but they are cool.
Ooh, I get to do the audio. Ooh.
There you go. Yeah, the cool audio. So these are tri-cuts, which are a beautiful bead. And tri-cut just means that each one of them has 3 cuts on the surface of the bead, and thus tri. And they are, some are black, and some are red, and so they, well, and actually they are, I'm trying to look close. It looks like, oh yeah, there are some that are just, nope. I looked at these and I could swear that there were some that were just plain, but it looks like they're all a little bit of black and a little bit of red. And a lovely, lovely, lovely bead that, you know, I can see, you know, I tend to use a lot of these very individually, like on our earrings that, where we have just one little drop, you know, piece of metal with a little bit that drops off. And this is just lovely for that sort of thing because it's a little fancier than just a plain old bead because of that cut, which catches a little bit of light and also introduces a little bit of extra color. So that's kind of fun. So that is lot 9, tri-cuts, $14 because, yeah, you know, sorry, but they always charge us more for all the different processes they do to a bead. So that's a thing. So that is the end of our show. I would love, I'm sorry, things went long. I would love to answer any questions if anybody has them. Oh, lot 10, sorry. Never mind. One more. Lot 10 is really just our memory wire cutter. And, oh, there was a thing. I'm going to leave that there so that can stay
The vine ring?
for a moment. Yes.
The vine ring chain?
Yes.
King wants you to show lot 8 again.
Lot 8. I can do lot 8 again. All right, so here's lot 8. Hold that there for just a moment so we get it. Lot 8. And then Carol is brought over. Oh, this is so good. So this, I'm going to leave that up there so we can still see lot 9. And then lot 10 is this memory wire cutter. This is new. And it's similar to our old one. And I don't know if it's just that it's, yeah, I think it's just a little different. So here's our old one on the right. The new one that we have now is on the left. And here's what I love about it. It is the best tool I can find so far for cutting heavy chain. And vinery chain is really heavy. So if you want to cut it, you need to use a memory wire cutter. And I mean, our regular cutters work fine, but this new one, what I found is you open them up big, right? And then grab where you need to cut, because we're going to say I'm going to cut, well, I don't want to cut that one off. I'm going to do a 5. Well, no, here, I'll cut this guy off. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's where I want to cut, right here. And I go in and look at how wide he splays that. He makes that wide opening so that I only have to cut once. It cuts really easily. And so then I've removed the link that I didn't want. And because there's 2 segments on each link, you have to cut twice. And that is how easy that is. So for those of you who need a cutters, I just like to include the kinds of things that we end up using as a tool in our shows that are really helpful, or that you can't do the project very well without, unless you have it, or if you have a very sturdy cutters. You know, another one on industrial cutters that we use around here is one of these guys. You guys may have something along those lines, and that works as well. But it's a little harder. We've all discovered that the memory wire cutter really is helpful for a lot of chain cutting as well. So it's a way to use something that you have to have for memory wire, because really it's like the only good thing for memory wire, but you can also use it for cutting some of your heavier chains. It's just a nice workhorse. It does look a little like a turtle beak, but anywho, all right, so that then is the end, and bless you all. If you have thoughts or questions or follow-ups, you know how to get a hold of us, either Facebook or email us at becky@diakonosdesigns.com. And if you're watching this, you know, down the road, not today, which is August 26th, and you want to order anything, please send us an email. That always works better because we don't always monitor the comments, or we don't even if we don't even know that there's comments sometimes. So let us know if there's anything more that we can do to help. Eddie, you've got a question or two or something to say, it sounds like.
Yeah, our next show won't be till the end of September, as we're going to be taking time off to move our studio, and that one's right now very aggressive. And we may move that into mid-October, but we're going to try to do a component show at the end of September 29th from 6 to 7. That's going to be our next show. We will not have a show before that. Everyone here is on our mailing list currently, so no need to send any emails. Ting, we need to know you were hedging on whether you did want a lot number 1 in all silver, so let us know that. And if anyone's got any additional shopping, please do it in the next 15 minutes. We'll monitor the feed from then. You can continue to shop after that. After 15 minutes from now, we'll just need to send us an email at becky@diakonosdesigns.com. And again, if your orders are over 75, you'll get 15% off. If they're over 150, you'll get 20% off. And if they were over $50, you'll get free shipping. So thank you all for shopping today.
Thank you.
And we look forward to serving you again soon. And we'll do our best for those that pay to get them shipped out before we head out to the wedding tomorrow. But if we don't, like I said, it'll be early next week. So.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And I will say, as I've made these projects, I mean, they really are fun, meditative. You know, once you get the swing, it's just easy yet engrossing. And I think that's, you know, I'm finding there to be a lot of joy in that kind of thing these days. So anyway, yes, you absolutely can call the shop. You can call us at 608-873-0210. And there's almost always somebody here during regular business hours, even if our store isn't open. So, and if not, just leave a message and we'll call you back. Anyway, love you all, and thank you all for your patience and sticking with us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.